Welcome to the Day 3 Real-Time Report here on Kentucky Lake. This has been the madness this week here on Kentucky Lake. You might not be able to read right there on that spoon. It says Ben Parker. This is the man responsible for the madness right here, Ben Parker. Ben, tell me a little bit about how your brain came up with this giant spoon to catch bass on.
Yeah, I fish out on Kentucky Lake all the time and all up and down the Tennessee River. And many times in the summer when you're fishing on these big schools of fish, big mega schools, you'll see the periodic big gizzard shad jump out of the water. And it'll be by itself and go down, and you know something's chasing it. And I called a good friend of mine, Brooks Woodward, with Nichols Lure Company, and I said, man, we need to get a spoon that is the same size as these gizzard shad that I'm seeing. And he was like, well, how big you want to make one? And I said, I prefer it to be 8 inches long, 2 inches wide, and weigh somewhere around 3 or 4 ounces. And he like flipped out. He goes, I don't know if that's ever going to work. And I was like, I think it will. So we've been playing with it for about a year. And right before this tournament, I got my first shipment of the final prototype that we've been working on. And man, I went out here a few days and just cracked them on it. And fortunate enough, some of my friends and people fishing the tournament knew I was working on it. And I got a few out here just in time, but we're still waiting on a big shipment coming in any day now.
Have you had a lot of calls this week?
My phone is ringing nonstop, which is good.
Give us your suggestion. Now, you designed this thing. Rod, you were just explaining to some guys a minute ago. A good stiff rod, fluorocarbon, what kind of hook?
You fish it traditionally the way you would a spoon. Sometimes when I'm spoon fishing, I'll just slightly pick it up and set it down. But this spoon in particular, it didn't work that way. When you throw this in, it really glides away from you. So when you throw it out there, you got to hold your rod tip up, click the spool out, and just let it take line. And as soon as it hits the bottom, you just give a really big hook set. And sometimes it's already in the fish's mouth, and they'll hit it again. But you'll lose more fish if you don't have a stiff rod. So I recommend the heaviest rod that you have. I use a G Loomis NRX 916, which is their umbrella rig rod. It's 7'7", but it's a 6-power, so it's extra heavy, and it's super light. Now, it's an expensive rod, but it won't kill you. Kill your arm is bad, when you're using a lightweight, heavy rod like that. That, along with 20-pound test line. When the spoons come out here in a few days for retail, they're all going to have 3/0 owner Stinger treble hooks on them. It's going to have premium split rings and a swivel on the front end, so out of the package, it's going to be ready to go.
Sounds good. You better get to making some spoons. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
All right, Jason, we're ready to hear about the big secret this week from Kentucky Lake out there on the ledges. Another good day for you. Let's take a look at the hardware you've been using this week.
Well, this is it. This is the Ben Parker Signature Series spoon. And it's as you can see, it's about 8.5 inches long. It's 2 inches wide. It weighs 3.5 ounces. And I will have to ice my arm and shoulder for the next 3 days after this.
Tell me, what kind of tackle would you throw that on? 20-pound test, 25? Give me some idea.
I'm throwing it on 20-pound fluorocarbon, a heavy fluorocarbon. I'm actually throwing it on a frog rod, a 7.2 frog rod. It's the only thing I've got that's really heavy enough for the weight of the spoon. But it's just a big bait, and it's just something different. It's just something. I mean, they've seen every 5.5-inch sexy spoon, Lake Fork spoon, and everything else in the world, and you see those big gizzard shad coming up out of the water occasionally, and they're not jumping because it's fun. There's something behind them trying to eat them. So that's where the concept come from, and it's been an interesting week with it.
Wow, that thing is just it's unbelievable. It seems like any more of these bass have gotten so educated where you have to either fish something really small and finessey like that on like small lines, small worms, or go completely opposite, giant.
Well, the funny thing about that is my last 2 days co-anglers, our day 1, day 2 co-anglers, were both fishing a drop shot. And one guy had 19.5, another guy had 18.5, and I'm throwing this stupid thing and that castaic jerky J that's 8-inch swim bait. And every fish that I've weighed in have come off of those two things. So it's just, I don't know, it's Tennessee River, the gizzard shad are big. I think the winter killed so many threadfin that the bass seem to be keying more on the big gizzards this time, and seems like the bigger baits are getting some better bites. So there's no rhyme or reason to it, just whatever you're comfortable fishing.
How many hours have you thrown that this week, that giant spoon?
You can actually throw it about 10 minutes at a time, then you have to rest a little while with a swim bait or something. It'll wear on you. It's a big load to be jerking on for 2 or 3 hours a day.
You don't have to lift any weights the rest of the week?
No, I'll probably be fine till the Cup anyway.
Randy, the story's kind of starting to break. The big giant spoons, the gargantuan spoons out there on the Tennessee River this week in the FLW event. I know y'all guys tried to keep that under tabs for the first few days, but us nosy reporters kept bugging you. And let's take a look at that thing you got there. I mean, that is a giant piece of metal.
It's big. It really is big. It's kind of hard to hide when you're throwing it out there on a lake. You'll have somebody driving down a lake 90 mile an hour and then they stop when you see it. So it's pretty neat. But it's been the deal this week. It's been really good. It really has.
What do you throw that thing on? I mean, like what kind of line, what kind of rod, what?
Well, I've been throwing it on a Kistler flipping stick, 6-power 711 rod with 20-pound fluorocarbon and a Super Duty luge reel. You got to have big gear for it. So, where you rip it, you got a lot of backbone. You set the hook because the first day landing ratio was 100%, and I'm about down to 50% the last couple of days. So it's a heartbreaker too. It's just something different, It's unique, so it's pretty awesome. For something new, it's awesome.
How long can you throw that before you just fall apart?
Well, I was complaining about my back hurting today, and my co-angler laughed at me. He said, "Reckon anything's got to deal with that spoon, reckon?" So, I said, "Yeah, I might have something to do with it, but it's something different. If you're gonna play the game, you got to man up."
You can hear it like when guys cast. Also, I've noticed y'all can't cast it very far because it gets caught up in the wind and it through the. A lot of guys are just kind of pitching it out.
Well, I'm sidearm. I'm putting a little bit on it, so it kind of cups up and then goes back down. Sometimes it just stops, but sometimes you can kind of cut the wind with it. But it's been something different, but you have to rip it.
One more tool in the ledge arsenal, as if there's not enough already.
I'm afraid so. The rod box is already full. That's what me and Rose is complaining about. Now it's hair jigs, 3 different size hair jigs, 3 different spoon size. You still got the old lead spoon. It just keeps on getting more and more. So hopefully some people will forget about some of the other stuff like a football jig and stuff, so we can go back to the old stuff.
Clent, wandering around here talking to some of the guys that are using the big giant Magnum spoon. Sounds like you got on that program this week. What was that like?
Most definitely. It's that spoon's probably the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It's 3 ounces, like 8 inches long, and it just gets the bigger fish in the school to bite it every time. I haven't, probably the smallest fish I've caught on it's 3 pounds this week.
What is it about that thing fluttering down there that makes those fish bite?
They just haven't seen it before, and it's going so fast. Either they got to eat it or not. They don't get a very good look at it, but it's just a big profile bait, and that's what these Tennessee River fish eat.
Now, what are you throwing yours on? What kind of rod and line?
I'm throwing mine on I'm throwing it on an 8-foot Phoenix 6-power rod with 20-pound fluoro. I'm throwing it on a flipping stick. That's what I'm throwing on, 20-pound fluorocarbon, 3/0 hook on the treble.
And tell me how long you can throw it before you have to put it down and give yourself a little rest.
Honestly, after yesterday, my elbow is so tired of yanking on it now. I'm just burning the handle and letting it fall back down. It doesn't matter really. The day everyone that bit it was on the fall. I never really even worked it again.
Sounds good. How many of those do you have?
I think I've got 8 or 10 of them. So I haven't lost but one, so we'll be good to go for a few weeks.
Big catch for you today, maybe make the top 10. I guess I know what you'll be doing if you fish tomorrow.
Most definitely. If they set up the way they did today, that's all I'll be doing tomorrow. They're just all way off the bottom.
Tom, day 3, tell us how it went down.
It was tougher. I wanted some wind, and I got a little more than I wanted. It started rolling. It was hard to fish some of it, but the biggest problem was I just didn't see the schools. The last couple days, the first day you would see them, but they wouldn't bite very well. They were kind of spread out. Yesterday, they were just in attack formation, easy to catch. Today, they were just totally blown out. Most of them, I'd graph these places, just nothing there. Have to go run the lake. I went all the way to the dam and back and just didn't see them, and eventually had to camp on stuff. The other issue was in practice and at the Rayovac, you just didn't know that 2-pounders existed here. It was crazy. I'm throwing big baits mostly. Today, I don't know how many times on big baits, all of a sudden I would catch a 112, a 2.4, all these, I mean, tons of little fish. For some reason, they came and played, and the big ones just didn't play for me today.
I like, let's go through some of your vocabulary. I like some of the terminology you use, like attack mode.
Attack formation, that's, you just see them. It's be no different than, I'm sure, a radar operator when they see jets coming in, you know, the fighters coming in versus just some passenger jets. When I see them clumped up on top of the ledge, right on top all together with some vertical to them, humped up, I know they're ready to eat. And at that point, I mean, you race to get up there and catch them. The other I call wall-to-wall carpet, where if you just see the dot, 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 dot all the way across it, hey, I can make a few bite. When they're suspended off the side, there's no euphemism. It's just bad. They're going to be tough to bite then.
Is that what you call flaked out?
That's flaked. Yeah, that is flaked out. There you go. Yeah.
Hite, you've had a lot of magical days this year. This one had to be one of them.
Yeah, it was. First day was pretty magical, leading the tournament. Yesterday I got a little spun out, and, my fish really weren't on that spot. It's obvious, a real obvious spot, so I know it gets a lot of local pressure. And moved up was really a gut-wrenching decision the first day whether to start on that spot that I started on and was leading the tournament or my secondary spot. And then I went there yesterday, and there's another angler that's doing well in the tournament fishing that area. There's 2 or 3 schools there, and yesterday afternoon finally settled down, got on the sweet spot that I wanted to be on, and I saw some stuff that I've never seen on the Tennessee River happening. Just the amount of giant bass feeding on giant gizzard shad in that area really opened my eyes. Stopped on my starting spot that I started on day 1, caught a couple fish there, gave somebody an opportunity to pick whatever spot he wanted. Went over to that area and got on that spot and got right on the juice, and it was lights out all day long.
So here's my question. I've been talking a little bit today to some of these guys about the big giant spoon some of these guys are throwing. It almost looks like on this Tennessee River, you either got to throw something ginormous like those big gizzard shad or drop back to finesse stuff. I mean, either small stuff. You were more of the finesse program today. I saw you with a spinning rod, hauling in 4 and 5 pounders on a finesse rod, or a big rod. You think those fish have just gotten educated to everything in between?
They have. We're about a month and a half into the ledge season, and by this time, they're educated. They seem to stay on these same bars, obviously because of current and bait fish there. And by a month and a half or a month into ledge season, they're smart. They were boiling all around me yesterday, and it was all you could do to get a bite. When they're just chasing giant gizzard shads around. So the fish are smart. You just got to, pull little tricks out of your pocket to, like you said, you either get them to react to a real big bait or you got to finesse them a little bit right now.
And you went the finesse program.
Yeah, I did. I started off the day using, kind of a magnum bait and caught some, and then it kind of slowed down. I knew those fish are still there, finesse them a little bit.
It was fun to watch you get that drag stripped on that little spinning rod today.
Oh man, it was a crazy day on that spinning rod. I got worked over a couple times too, and that usually doesn't happen. I got my hook straightened out once, and I had some acrobatic big ones come off. So I know there's still some big ones there, and I played a little defense this afternoon and kind of put that spinning rod away. Didn't really want to show everybody exactly what's going on there, and still, just catching them on big stuff, just having the confidence I know those fish are there is the biggest thing.